hear your voice, but there ain't no sound. I feel your kiss, oh, but you're not around. I hear your voice, but there ain't no sound. I feel your kiss, oh, but you're not around.
All right, episode 3 of the BetterCast. I'm Yelkreb, joined by Neely, and this week we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite Tier 2, and then the banger of a league that is Tier 4, super competitive so far. So just to start things off, Cam, if you just want to get us into the T4 scores from last week.
Absolutely. So, starting off, we have Titans Academy beating Blueprint Order 3-1. Next, we have Boosters beating the Eclipsers 3-1, followed by Galaxy 3-1ing Cat Pack, and Revamped winning 3-1 over Minos. Anything on those?
Anything on those? Definitely surprised by Galaxy upsetting my former rank 1, because as you can see on these here power rankings, there's going to be a whole bunch of change. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, Blackwatch, I got up at the top spot. They're one of the few undefeated teams. They had that bye week. I mean, that team bye, right? Let's just start. They're so 0-6 so far across tiers.
Yeah.
Terrible organization.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So Blackwatch taking my number 1 spot, going up 3, and then Galaxy was the team that definitely shocked me. They jumped up 4 spots when they took out Cat Pack. I didn't actually get to see that game, but I know Cat Pack is a solid team, and I had not heard or seen anything about Galaxy, so they came in week 2 after that week 1 off, and they're causing a storm in the power rankings. All right, moving on. Number 3, I got Titans Academy moving up 4 spots, and then following them down 3 spots, I have Cat Pack, and then following them also down 3 spots, Blueprint Order, who just lost their game to Titans Academy. And then I've got 6 Boosters, followed by Eclipsers, and then Revamp and Minos coming in, going down 6 spots. Not the start to the season they wanted. They're one of the 2 0-2 teams. So tossing it over to you, what are your power rankings looking like?
A little different, but we're starting off with Blackwatch at number 1. They're the only undefeated team. I don't know if you mentioned that yet, but they had a bye week, so they've only played 1 game. Everyone that's played 2 has a loss on the board. Following them is Titans Academy, taking down Blueprint Order, which, I mean, I think it's a pretty big win. Maybe Blueprint had an off night. Maybe Titans are just coming at, getting after it. I know both sides had some weird DC issues. People are calling for DOSing, but, I played ranked today and had like 5 DCs, so who really knows what's going on there. And then following that at number 3 is Cat Pack. No movement on them. I'm not really sure where they're at, with these teams just, winning a game and losing a game. It's really hard to kind of nail down where they're going to be. Blueprint Order is going to be falling down 2 spots to number 4, followed by Boosters up 2 spots. Galaxy up 3 spots at number 6. Eclipsers up 1 spot. Revamped up 2 spots, and Minos down 2 spots. Now, I know with Revamped, it was a little weird because we didn't have them in our first week because we just, if anyone saw our power rankings, half of them were misspelled. It was a whole garbage shoot, but
we were thinking about purposefully misspelling some more today, just as a little podcast Easter egg, but opted against it. There still might be spelling errors though, and if there are any, they're real.
Keep your eye out. Paradise. All right. So that
one.
moves us right to the Tier 3 scores, correct?
Yeah. One thing I just wanted to say really quick about Tier 4. No teams 2-0 that have played 2 games so far. A couple of the teams had bye weeks. They're still undefeated. But that's definitely the closest league the Better Academy has right now. Without a doubt.
A lot of parity. And that's, especially in a console league and a not very high tier thing, you always want parity in a league. You don't just want teams dominating and teams being bad, one-sided games all over the place. I think every game has been a 3-1 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, no 4-0s. Except against bye week.
If you know anything about Yeah, bye week. They're a bunch of tier 2 players. They all bought tier 4 accounts. They're trying to I don't know why they do it, but
Trash
they're out
work.
there. Trash. Doing everyone a favor. All right, tier 3 scores coming in at number one. Well, not number one, but first thing on my list here. Hindsight Feeders beating Reforged 2-1 with a draw in there. That's about as close as the games can really get. Almost, you could almost say closer than a 3-2. It's hard to say, but it's a nail biter when it's one of those. Deep Dive 4-0ing Redemption, showing no signs of weakness. Icarus 4-0ing Super Trash. Carpet Pizza 3-1 over Solar Flares, Heartbreaker. Golden Hour 4-0 over Rampage, and Thesis 3-0 over SR Goblins. And the thing that we can notice from this, as opposed to Tier 4 right away, a lot of one-sided games. So,
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the wins end up being 4-0s. I've heard of some of the 4-0s being like relatively close games, but compared to Tier 4, it's definitely just a different kind of contest. Some teams are there and some teams have a long way to go. So,
something I'd add to that is I had Thesis 3-0 SR Goblins. That's how it was listed in BA.
yeah.
I don't know if that means one of them was a draw. I have no idea. It wasn't. It was just listed 3-0. So, to anyone who wins 3 maps and thinks it's over, play the 4th. It matters for map score, just in case that's what happened. I have no idea.
Yep.
I'm guessing it was a draw map. Anyway.
Icarus is
I
looking
go right
good.
down. Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
say one more thing about Tier
Yep.
3. I had Super Trash Bros ranked pretty high, and I might have had Icarus higher. I honestly can't say. I don't have the rankings like right in front of me. But yeah, Icarus is like really starting to prove themselves in this league. Deep Dive we know is going to look really good, but Icarus is looking like they could be right up in that top 3 too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just a lot of good teams in this in Tier 3. Even though there's some one-sided stuff, I think a lot of scary teams out there, at least for me. I don't want to play them. I'm just kidding. Right down to Tier 2, because I know if anybody forgot, we're alternating weeks on power rankings. Last week we did Tier 3 and Tier 1. This week we're doing Tier 4 and Tier 2, so we're skipping the Tier 3 ones. Going right down to Tier 2 scores. Starting off, No Daylight 4-0ing Funk. And, it's a big game. I
Only
think Funk
team
won
that
their
hasn't dropped a map. Only team.
Yep. And I got a lot of feedback, we'll say, about how No Daylight lost their whole roster. Why are they at number 1? Are these power rankings a joke? I don't know. They're not looking like a joke to me. They're looking pretty accurate so far. It's only week 2, though. Following that's going to be Lucky 13 Diamonds 4-0ing 0G. Then we've got Blueprint Chaos 3-2ing Sinister Spitfire. That's one to look out for. Event Horizon 3-1ing Legion. That's a big that's a big mover for Event Horizon, because Legion, they're down 0-2 right now in score, right? For games, but I think Legion's still one of those respected teams. No one thinks they're bad.
Their 2
They
losses
do well in
definitely
scrims, all
against
that
good teams. Like, they did not lose to teams that weren't gonna give them a run for their money.
Absolutely. And I think Event Horizon winning that really proved a lot of things, as we'll see from the power rankings here. But moving on, Blackout 3-2 over Lucky 13 Clubs. Taken Space 3-2 over Shadow Wolves. That's a big it's a big game, not like for power rankings or for standings. That's a big game because that was Fat Shats, that split. That was the battle between, almost like the inner org battle, you could say.
Definitely a rivalry.
Taken Space is going to take that one. Not handily, though. It's a close game. But, they had points to prove, I believe, when that game came up. Following that is going to be Shell Yeah 4-0ing Hindsight Feeders. Shell Yeah coming back after a tough, decisive loss to Blueprint Chaos, but showing that they're not a bottom-of-the-pack team. They're going to stay strong in this league. And lastly, Daedalus 2-1 over Galactic. Once again, I'm guessing there was a draw. I didn't see it listed, but if there's draws, just list them. It just helps us in the future here. And then I think we kick it to your Tier 2 power rankings.
Yeah, so I mean, at the start and at the end of my power rankings, there's really not a whole lot of movement, but that middle of the pack seems to be a really close fight, and I definitely got a lot wrong in my previous power rankings. But I mean, right at the top, there's 5 teams in Tier 2 that started 2-0. So this league is starting to kind of open up a little more, and the standings are already kind of starting to spread out just 2 weeks in. But I've got Blueprint at number 1, followed by No Daylight, even though I just kind of flexed that they hadn't lost a map. I know they also haven't played their toughest games yet, so I think if they ever meet up against Blueprint, that's a game everyone in T2 definitely does not want to miss, because those are going to be some heavyweights battling it out. And then number 3, I actually had Event Horizon generously high in my previous power rankings, just kind of on a whim, like hearing through the grapevine that they were a good team. So they didn't move at all. I mean, they have not disappointed starting out 2-0. Same with Blackout coming in right after them, 2-0. In my 4 spot, Daedalus getting that big win over Galactic Stars is going to flip-flop those two. So I got Daedalus at 5 now, and then I got Galactic down 1 in the 6th spot. And then Shell Yeah, followed by Legion and Taken Space. Legion, again, an 0-2 team. I've got them ahead of my power rankings. I've got them over 4 teams that have won a game. But like I said, I think they've lost to tougher teams in the league. So that's why I got them at number 8. Moving on to 10, I've got Lucky 13 Clubs up 4 spots. That's my biggest jump. They seem to beat a pretty good team. And they're not losing that many maps. Like, they're not getting 4-0'd when they play good teams as well. So I kind of like where they're at. I think they can fight up to maybe like a top 6 spot. It's going to be a real test when they start playing those tough teams, but I think they can maybe make a move there. Sinister Spitfires up 2 spots into 11. Lucky 13 Diamonds down 2 spots into 12, followed by Shadow Wolves, Funk dropping 3 spots, and then No Change with Hindsight Magic Erasers and Zero Gravity. And then you got my favorite team up at the top, and I like it.
Absolutely. I started off with it, got a lot of flack for it. No Daylight dropping no maps. It's not like they've probably played their best opponents. I actually forget who they have specifically played, but starting off with 2 4-0s, you're going to be looking rather strong, especially if people thought you had previous power. I guess I was the only one who thought they'd be good. But No Daylight, number 1, No Change, followed by Blackout, No Change. I could be wrong about this, but I believe Blackout has Seabass, correct? Is that correct?
I mean, their stock just went up a ton this last patch, let me tell you. He's a god Roadhog.
All right. Hello? Yeah, my mic cut out.
That's
I
okay.
think you said correct.
Yeah, I did.
Right? Yeah. And I think you said the Roadhog thing too. But, he's a well-known Tier 2 Roadhog one-trick, likes to play the Roadhog even prior to the buff. So now with these, Roadhog changes and everyone kind of getting their hands on Roadhog, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He could just win games off the hog difference. So we'll see how that pans out. And at number 3, No Change, Blueprint Chaos, winning another game. Number 4, Daedalus, No Change, number 4. And here's the thing. I know, especially the Daedalus orgs, and be like, why aren't we number 1 or number 2? Yada, yada. Well, I had these teams in the top 4. They all won their games. I could make slight adjustments, but I don't think it's even worth moving them yet,
Make them
I think
earn
number
it.
1 through 4 is I think it's basically just a tie for first place at this point. I think No Daylight's the only one that's really earned it with the 4-0-4-0. So,
It's still
but
a
anyway,
tough
moving
call,
to
though.
number 5, it is a tough call. Like with any of these teams, I think any of them can move up and any of them can move down, 100%. But coming in at number 5, biggest change in the official BA Power Rankings history. Event Horizon up 10 spots. I had them low. I didn't know anything about them. I think everyone right now is learning about them. Legion learned about them last week. But up 10 spots into number 5, and they can basically do nothing but move up at this point. If they lose one, I don't know if I'd really change them up too much. They're impressing right now, and we're going to see if they can continue it. Galactic moving down 1 spot. Played 2 good games. Both kind of close. Oh, my light went a little wonky there. Both played close games. Number 6 spot's nothing to be ashamed of. And we're going to be going right down to number 7, Shadow Wolves. No movement. Number 8, Lucky 13 Diamonds. No movement. Lucky 13 Clubs. Lucky 13 Clubs. Number 9, no movement. Now, with some of these teams, I think it's like what you said a minute ago. These teams do have to earn these changes. It's so early. 2 games in a 16 team league is nothing.
No, it's hardly a
So
dent.
I mean, you kind of gotta play a few more to kind of earn some of these and get everyone's attention.
I
So if you're thinking, why are we
kind of want to press you on one of them though.
Yeah, I'm
Having
looking at one of them right now.
Shadow
I'm
Wolves
looking at one of them
above
right
taking space.
Yeah, I think I might have goofed a little right there, maybe. But I mean, the thing was with the Shadow Wolves, I believe maybe they lost week 1. I forget now. But
No,
we were doing
they're
some of
a
these
1-1
power rankings.
team. They beat 0G 4-0.
They're one. Okay. Okay. So, they play. I think a lot of teams are beating 0G right now. So condolences to them. But Shadow Wolves, they win one, they lose one, but they lose it in a 3-2 fashion. I could have probably moved them down. I could have changed some of the lucky 13 ones. I think taking space probably stayed down a little bit just because Legion got chucked down to the mix. I'm going to be getting to them in a second. But after number 9 of Lucky 13 clubs moved to number 10, down 4 spots, Legion. And I have them here because they've lost 2 games, but I think they could get those back. You win next week, you move right up. I mean, that's the thing with power rankings. It's not like regular rankings where it's a slow in the beginning, it's pretty rampant where you move. It's going to be, I'm in mid-pack, I won 2 games, now we're first, something like that. But anyway. So at 11, taking space up 1 spot from where I had them. Probably could earn a little more. If they win another game, I think they're going to have to make a big skyrocket here. They'll have proved it to me. Number 12, Shell Yeah. At number 13, Funk. Number 14, Funk would be no movement, by the way. Previously, Paradise, if anyone is Paradise, as we had them on the power rankings. Number 14, Sinister Spitfire, down 4 spots. Number 15, Hindsight.
Magic Erasers.
What is it? Hindsight Feeders? It is Magic Erasers on this here.
Yeah.
Sorry, these
Also,
Lucky 13s and Hindsights.
Chat caught a typo.
Of course they did.
Have you caught it yet?
I'm not. I'm looking at my paper. I'm not looking at the rankings that you sent me.
Unfortunate. Well,
Is it
on your
Wolves?
side.
Like,
nope,
what?
nope. It's Shell Yeah. And there's a little apostrophe after the E in Shell.
Okay. So
She
that
will,
is,
yeah.
Yeah. So for Shell, yeah. So I typed it in Shell, yeah, but
What are
how
you
it
gonna do?
autocorrects for no good reason. Because I actually commented on it when I was doing it. I was like, why is it always autocorrect Shell yeah for me?
I don't know.
And for whatever
Whoa.
reason, it seemed. Whoa, guys, we gotta go. Time's up. All
Time
right,
to wake up.
But yeah, it autocorrects to Shield. I like that one stayed. That one's pretty funny to me.
That's a good
But
one.
excuse me. But Shield yeah, up 1 spot. Oh yeah, I already did them. Yep, I did Hindsight down 4 spots, and then 0G, no movement, 16. They've been getting pounded into polls here. There's not much you can really hope for in that, I guess you could say.
All right, so I guess the next
Hopefully they
thing
can grab a game.
is going to be the games of the week for this upcoming week. But just before we talk about that, I want to talk about the Better Academy 2 Twitch channel that just got made. Eddie made an announcement yesterday. If you want to catch that in the announcements on the Discord, that'd be great. It'll send you a link right to the channel. So there's going to be more games broadcasted on that Twitch as well, because a lot of people felt like maybe Tier 4 was getting all of the love on like the primary BA Twitch. So I guess there's a second one for just like more games in general. But I mean, a lot of casters are casting off of that channel too. Like the BA channel might get a little more viewership than some of the others because of the game a week kind of stuff. But there's been a decent amount of viewers on pretty much every stream that I've tuned into. I mean, there's been at least 20 in pretty much all of them, which is great to see.
Over 10 on any singular stream,
Yeah.
It's great, We have a community that comes out to see teams play, which is fantastic. I don't know if my camera was on, but I was having some light issues if it was coming through.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I'm gonna try to keep that to a minimum. Might have to jump to another room if it keeps up.
That'll be okay. All right, so I believe you got some games of the week for me now.
Actually,
Yeah?
we did the Tier 2 power rankings. It took forever, but we never did the T1 scores.
I mean,
just
true
looked
to
at my
form,
papers.
I forgot about T1. Whoops.
Whoops, sorry,
I've never
T1.
done that. All right.
No, never forgot about T1. Sorry, T1. Nothing against you.
Sorry, T1.
Just at the bottom of the paper. You're at the bottom of the paper, right down
Yeah.
there. Look at that handwriting. All right. So, T1, Vigilance, 4-0 over Heroic Hurricanes. 0G, 3-1 Labyrinth. Is that correct? Did I see that correct? No. Yes?
I don't know,
No.
man. That sounds crazy.
I don't know.
That sounds like crazy talk. I gotta check right now.
We might need to check that out. Once again, true to form, but I'll move right on while he checks that. Shell Shocked, 4-0, Blueprint Havoc, and HLA, 4-0, the Protectors, the Protestors, the Proclaimers, whatever we spell it as.
Yeah.
And Night Watch, I believe it is, with the bye week. But that is why I'm questioning. 0G is still in this.
It looks like 0G did 3-1 Lab. That's kind of crazy.
Okay.
All right.
Big
Yeah.
for 0G right there. Because I think they forfeited week 1. That's what it was. That's
Yep.
what it was. When I looked at it, I was like, wait, did they back at? No. They're still
No.
here. That's good to see.
That's a
and if we
huge
forgot
one, though.
anybody, apologies.
I mean,
Yeah.
out of everything, I think that's probably like
yeah.
the most surprising thing that happened in BA this week.
Yeah, you're actually probably right. Because Labyrinth, I mean, I think everyone, tends to think of them as like a good team. They were good last season under circumstances, and they are one of those like just good teams that Org puts out some pretty, above, top pack teams, but not in T1 right there with 0G coming out on top.
Yeah, all right. So now you've got some games of the week for me.
Now, absolutely. Got to get the big book for this one. All right. So, and these could be disputed, but these are my opinions for the games of the week right here. So for T4, there was 2 games I could have chosen from, but I went with Boosters versus Blueprint Order. I think it should be a good game. I know Blueprint Order just lost. I was looking at the Titans game. I think that could also be a game of the week candidate. I forget who. I think it was against Revamp.
T4 is just so close. Like we've talked about it this podcast.
So close.
Yeah. If you're watching T4 games, you're always going to be watching a good game.
Yeah. I mean, 4-0s yet. I don't believe you could.
Yeah, none.
Check me on that one, but I'm pretty sure every game has been a 3-1. So
Yep.
that's. I mean, 3-1's as close as they come, basically. Unless you 3-2 or 2-1. It's usually a pretty close game. Anyways, Booster. Oh, also on the Blueprint Boosters one, I know there was some smack talk a while back, and I'm sure that will want to be. I'm sure that will want to be settled, and hopefully it doesn't rile up anything too much. If it does, take it to Twitter. Leave it at a BA. Twitter's
T4 has such an
the place
ego
to talk.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait till I get there so I can just start telling everyone,
Just start egoing everybody.
what I think about the game. All right, Tier 3, the bread and butter, my bread and butter. I went with Thesis versus Hindsight Feeders. I don't know why. I just felt like this could be a close game. We don't always go. I don't, because I think some people go, why would you pick a game of the week, like particularly? And it's like, it should be the best team versus the best team. But we don't always have the best team versus the best team.
Nope.
You just have like a kind of close game. I could be wrong, but I thought this was a good one. I think anyone else could probably go check the Tier 3 and maybe find something that's what they think is a little better. But that's what I picked for that. Moving down to Tier 2, for Group A, the game of the week, I went Blackout versus No Daylight. Usually we only do one. I thought Tier 2 deserved 2. There's so many teams, so there's a lot of matchups. But Blackout versus No Daylight, that's 2 people in the top of our power rankings, and that will decide something for those power rankings.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game.
Sure. Blackout's coming out with the Roadhog, Seabass.
Without a
and
doubt.
No Daylight hasn't dropped a map, and Blackout's going to try to force that for sure.
It's the finals rematch. I mean, that's got to be game of the week, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're correct. That is the finals rematch. Different players, same orgs.
Totally different, but still 2 good teams, yeah.
But, it's like the Boston Bruins and the Canadiens having a rivalry for years and years. Has it been the same team for 20 so years? No. Doesn't mean the org owners don't hate each other. No, you don't hate each other, but there's a little bad blood.
I was going to say, I'm in the Blackwatch org as far as what I play, so yeah, definitely don't hate them.
Yeah, very true.
Yep.
I hate him. No, I'm just kidding.
Complimented
I
Zach
love
for like
Blackwatch.
5 minutes straight last episode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
talking about how he give you GM whenever he wants,
Yep.
and he did it. Anyway, Group B of Tier 2, I had, this is like probably a big one as well. Daedalus versus Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Daedalus is good. Event Horizon up 10 spots in my power rankings. So, can they get another win? If they win another one and how other games shake out, they could take the #1 spot. They could make the biggest jump in my power rankings. By far, could be the best team in the league. But the thing with us is that, unless we hear something or our Tier 2 teams are scrimming them or, whatever is happening, we might not hear about these teams, going into it. We know, like, kind of the Daedalus org. We know Blackout. We know No Daylight. So they get a little more love just when it comes to power rankings because we know they can put stuff out that, can win. Anyway, and rounding it off for matches of the week, Tier 1 went with Shell Shocked versus Lab. But another candidate, I think, for this could have been actually, scratch that. I can't remember the matchup. There was another one that I had in my mind that could have been a close game. But I'm going to stick with Shell Shock versus Labyrinth. I know Labyrinth lost last week, but I think they're going to be hungry to get back on top here. They're a winning team. I know Shell Shocked is a rather good Tier 1 team, especially 4-0ing Blueprint Havoc.
Yeah, I think those are all good games of the week. Definitely, like, an incredible week for Tier 2 coming up. Like, 4 of the top 5 teams are going to be facing off against each other. So, definitely a very impactful week as far as power rankings are concerned and standings. A lot of those 2-0 teams, half of them are not going to be 2-0 after this week. So, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. What do we talk about next?
Yeah, I can't wait too.
We could throw it over to chat a little bit. If chat's got anything, just kind of like we did last time. Have at it. I'll be trying to read it, pick something to talk about. But if you got anything we want to talk about, or you want to hear us talk about rather, throw it in there. But I guess we could just talk about the patch because it's a gigantic game-changing patch that went through last week. And I definitely took, like, with a heavy grain of salt, any team that lost, that played right after that patch dropped because go Bruins. Go Bruins. They'd come back last night, getting a little sidetracked, but that's okay. 4-goal third period. Love to see it. I don't even know what I was talking about anymore, so I'm just going to actually keep on talking about the Bruins. I was scrimming last night, Death Watch against STB, and we were all fairly tilted and getting obliterated. And I was watching the Bruins game at the same time, and they were losing at the same time we were. And it was, like, adding to my level of tilt. And then, like, on the last map of our scrim, the Bruins started to, like, pile on some goals, and they came back, and it's the playoffs if you don't know right now. And it just, like, completely made me able to sleep at night, not having the Bruins lose and also get rolled in a scrim.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I saw someone in the chat mention, are we going to be doing ratings? And I know I'm putting you on the spot, spot here, but ratings for teams and, like, because, like, if anyone doesn't know what we did last season, not to get anyone's hopes up, because I think this is going to be almost impossible.
It's a lot of teams this season.
Yeah, for Tier 2, what we did last season was a little 8-team league, 7-team league, and we rated, like, the tanks on a 0 to 100, the DPS, the supports, and then we had something called swing factor with, like, how you swung fights or swung the game if you're down 0-2. So we did that whole thing, and it was really fun. Like, I think we had a lot of fun doing it, but I think realistically, we could actually give semi-accurate ratings. And the thing was with our ratings is they weren't even entirely accurate. Some people were like, wait, how are we rated that? We actually got, like, some negative feedback on it. A lot of positive feedback, but some negative.
80 overall, tank for New Future.
Absolutely.
Chase the Ace. Getting undersold.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Jason Arrow, 80 overall. I think I'll knock him down to 75.
Yeah.
If they keep asking about it. And I even had some people asking me after, like, what would you do for Tier 3 for yada? And I'm like, I don't know. But it was basically just like an EA Sports style kind of idea like that. So no one was like a 30 overall. Like, it was all like 70 and above, and you kind of shot in that ballpark. But it was really fun to do. Maybe maybe we'll do it, but
It would be later into the season anyway. Like the last time we did it, it was at least
later.
it was past the trade deadline. It was like
Halfway, if not
3/4 of the
more.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be for a while,
Yeah.
and maybe we would have a pretty good clue about where we wanted to rate people. But we'll see. We'll see if we do it for all the tiers or any tiers.
We would probably have to get some people to help us with that because, I mean, with me, I'm on 2 teams. I'm scrimming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then for one. Yeah.
We talked about that.
We did, but don't get your hopes up. But yeah, well, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but yeah, it would be a mountain of a task, and I wouldn't want to do like a bunch of teams, but like, cause there'd be certain teams we'd rate better. Like I'd rate any blueprint team, I'd be able to rate in a better, more accurate way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And you'd be able to rate Blackwatch and No Daylight, and I probably could too. And then there'd be a team like Event Horizon, which I had at like 13 to start the season in the power rankings. I still might not know their players because I can't catch all these games. I'm barely making it to all my scrims.
And every game is different too. Like you might catch the one game where like maybe they didn't look so good or something like that. So it's tough in that regard too.
People pick players up mid-season and you don't even know. Like, unless you really watch that trades and signings and the game, who knows? We need J-Cal, chat of the chat.
I gotta say, we keep a pretty good eye on it. We've got a good clue of what's going on in Better Academy in like every tier.
No, yeah. That's why our power rankings are like, even though we got a lot.
They're the official power ranking. Can we all agree that they're the official power rankings because they're the official power rankings? I mean, come on.
They are the official power rankings. I mean, obviously. I mean, if anyone's curious, we put in like 2 hours of prep before we start this thing.
Yeah, every episode we do 2 hours of prep.
It's not like we just boot up the stream and get it rolling. Like,
yeah. Today was probably closer to like 3 hours of prep because I had to like make this here graphic too and like the other ones, and it was a little extra.
Always making graphics. I'm writing down,
the
scores
notebooks get messy. Let me tell you.
Yeah. It's not much.
Yeah.
But, they're full.
Did you have players of the match from games this week logged away somewhere?
I do. My phone. Fun fact: my phone is at 1%, but we all know. If anyone knows me, my phone at 1% is an absolute champion. So if I don't get through all of them, I apologize. But I will get through as many as I can before my phone cuts out. So here's the list of all. I'm not going to read what Time Bomb sent me. That's going to kill me. So players of the match from week 2. These are just casted games what the casters gave to players. So not all the games were casted. I'm sure if you weren't casted and you popped off, you might not be in here. So apologies on that. But from week 2 of casted games, Seabass in the Blackout versus Lucky 13 clubs. He's the off tank. He's the Roadhog we talked about. I'm sure he absolutely dominated this week. So, I'm glad to see him on this list. For tier 3, Thesis versus SR Goblins, Dragon 8, or VII, as I like to call him. My cat is now crying. Fantastic. But Dragon VIII, DPS player. I've seen him play a lot. He plays with one of my DPS players, Decoy, on a CGL team, and I know they're a dynamic duo, and he has a lot of good things to say about him. In the Taken Space game, Poison Fanged is going to take it in tier 2 against Shadow Wolves. He's a DPS player, and I'm guessing he popped off. I hate to say I didn't see that game, so I apologize. There might be a little bit of that going on when it comes to these, but as we said, a lot of people are viewing these, so hopefully you guys know. And I mean, if they got player of the match, casters watch these closer than anybody, and they always have a good idea of who showed up in that kill feed and what not. Soldier 9, DPS for Daedalus in the Galactic Star games, in the Galactic Star versus Daedalus game. Coming in at player of the match. Shell Shocked versus Blueprint Havoc T1 game. Kiza Kava.
It's tough, man.
You people with your names.
I can't read either. I'm glad you do all the reading on this podcast.
Kiza, and then it's followed by KVRA. Kavra?
Let me just tell you how it looks. What's an animal the name looks like?
Nothing.
Okay.
Cobra?
Maybe.
I don't know. Moving right on. So we've got,
That
and I
guy.
like this name right here, Icy Smooth 100. Yeah, he's a Galaxy DPS. A lot of DPS players. Let's show some tank love, some support love here, casters. If you're watching this and you're like, who did really well? I know Anna's coming back into the fold. Watch those anti-nades. I've been getting hit with them a lot in ranked as I grind
And the
Roadhog.
difference is huge right
So
now. Oh, it's disgusting.
it's big. It really is. So Icy Smooth 100 DPS player, tier 4 Galaxy vs Cat Pack was the game. He got it in. And then Blueprint Chaos tier 2 Decoy getting player of the match, another DPS player. Something I'd like to add to that, since that's my org and I heard something about that. I heard we were missing one of our starting off tanks, Sleepin'. And I heard once we got him in, we started putting things together. We got one of our supports back on support and off tank. You know, really, I think changed the game around for us. But Decoy being there from start to finish, I think is what proved to be, you know, the effect, like the big effect. But again, casters, stop looking at that kill feed. I know it's pretty, but I've seen a lot of DPS players, too many for my taste. And tier 4 boosters versus eclipsers. BNF Taze. Off tank, love it. Little Roadhog
There we
difference if I
go.
had to guess.
How about that?
Yeah. Second off tank actually put in. Seabass was the first one, and maybe that has a little more to say about these off tanks. You know, if they actually make player of the match, then they did something noticeable. They were probably winning fights by themselves. But moving on, Wiseful. No daylight support. Hey, a support. There we go. Tier 2, no daylight.
There we
versus
go.
Funk.
Way to go, Wiseful.
Showing up. Maybe that was nades. Maybe he was shutting down the enemy hog. I don't know how much hog got played in all these games. I know he was in my game, and I know I was told to play him. But I love to play Sig.
Same with my scrim last night, and it was ugly. Been playing
Yeah,
Hyperscape all
gets
week
ugly.
too. I was not ready for Roadhog.
Oh,
I think we
yeah.
were talking about it.
No.
Like when you play Hyperscape, I don't know. Overwatch just seems like so slow. You're just like, oh my god, Roadhog. He doesn't have like a double jump sprint slide mechanic. And
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Doesn't have it.
I was awful last night. It was so gross.
And on top of that, his rate of fire got slowed down. So he feels so slow.
It's so
on
slow.
many levels
Oh,
in comparison. I mean, dude, I was on like bridges. I jumped off and thought I could jump back. Like, what am I doing?
no, I did that too.
I don't know
totally did that too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I gotta
brutal.
quit playing Hyperscape. I'm addicted.
Yeah, people say you can play other games. I've always been a firm believer that you kind of grind one if you want to be good at it. So I also had to like learn new hog mid game because I was gone all week. So on that,
Yeah.
and you know, new patch. I think I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but I know we talked about mentioning it. You know, with the tier 2 or not tier 2, I'm sorry, with the patch change, anyone who lost a game or won a game just doesn't I think it probably affected our power rankings because power rankings are for fun
Yeah, it
and
did,
like
it
we like
did.
to have a lot of movement. But I think mentally you have to go, this doesn't mean much. Nobody knows what the meta is. I know Blueprint didn't run any Roadhog in one. I know some teams ran exclusively Roadhog and like Winston. You know, like it's the meta is very bizarre right now, and I'm bargain to say I'm gonna put it out there. 2 weeks from now, everyone's gonna realize that Sigma's not bad. Sigma's gonna come back. That's my little prediction. Even though I know, even in ranked, I'm playing Hog, so like I see it too. But I don't know. I think Sigma will never die. That's unless they nerf his damage. Anyway, before I get yelled at on Twitter for that, moving right on. Ghost Slimmy, a DPS for Titans Academy in the Blueprint Order game. You know, again, another DPS. And last tour tonight, so he'll update later. So that is all the players of the week that I have that were, you know, from casters. Time Bomb doing a really good job of getting these games casters, keeping track of stuff like that. I would tell him, take a break, please, for the love of God. I saw on Twitter he took a break, I think, a little bit, and he really, really did a lot of good for him. You know, anyone who's given any admins or officers crap, just settle down. They're doing a lot more than you. They're on teams. They're helping run
It
teams.
takes a lot of effort from a lot of people to run like a very free volunteer gaming tournament for 4 tiers and 1,000 people. Like it is.
And I think about all the
lot.
complaints they get. Like, if you
Oh
don't
yeah.
think after each game almost there's like an accusation, a complaint, something. Nobody likes to
Everyone's
lose
got
and everyone
something to
likes to blame.
say after they lose.
We we've been playing Overwatch for 4 years. I mean, we've been blaming our teammates for 4 years, but sadly, if you play with your friends, it's hard for you to blame, you go, okay, he might have
Yeah,
messed up, but I'm not going to blame him for the whole loss. I'm going to blame that random guy on my team. But now that it's
exactly.
6v6, you got to blame the other team. And what do we have? Oh, he's not paying for Xbox Live. What is this? It's a privacy setting. That's why you can't see it all the time for all those wondering. But yeah. So, there's always a complaint there. Anything else in chat there, Burke?
I mean, they wanted us to talk about Roadhog, which is kind of what I wanted to jump back into, just talking about Seabass in particular, because he was a
Hmm.
free agent that floated around, obviously, when Double Shield was the meta, and Roadhog was, like, nowhere in sight for playtime in,
Yeah.
like, league games. And, like, obviously, it's all Seabass wants to play in league. If he had the choice, he would just only play Roadhog. So now that he gets to do that, his stocks are going to go, like, way up, if they haven't already. Like, he's just a T2 god. It's going to make a huge difference for Blackout. And then on top of that, he also tried out and was maybe released from at least a couple teams because maybe he like didn't want to flex off Hog onto something else. Let me just tell you something about Seabass when he was on No Daylight. So he almost solo carried the semifinal game. Not to take credit away from No Daylight, it was against Blueprint. You obviously like know the game, but like Seabass was going off on Roadhog against Double Shield, just like he did kind of like all season long. And the thing with that is like when he would do it, he wouldn't talk. He wouldn't have any like audio from the party. He would just mute his mic and his headset, his party audio, and just listen to Spotify and just vibe like he's solo queuing. And I like coaching the team, I totally allowed it. I also had McSaucy Nuggets who wasn't able to like talk, but he could hear the party. So we had two people not talking. One person couldn't even hear the comms, was listening to music and just like popping off in these games as Roadhog. So Seabass can just like get it done if you just give him the space and just let him vibe out there.
Maraud around.
Yeah.
See how he
Gets it.
handles the Ana change, not the Ana change, but the Ana change into the meta, moving a little bit away from that Batiste pick, however you say it. We're good with names, but Batiste's still good, but I think that Roadhog, I mean, you got to counter him, you got to answer. If he goes unanswered, I think that's kind of what happened to us in our tier 3 game. We just weren't ready for a hog, and I think one of their players, I think his name was Jexe. I don't know. I don't think our game was streamed, but I would probably give him player of the match from my game. Again, Carpet Pizza versus Solar Flares. I mean, he was an absolute madman on Roadhog. We were having trouble answering him. I was trying to figure out Roadhog. I was doing okay, but like he was something else, and he really I think he just made the difference. And I think that's gonna be a big thing coming up in these next couple weeks. There's gonna
Yeah.
be some Roadhog differences. If there's a Roadhog, winning that one, like, because I don't know who's been playing Roadhog recently, but there's always that threat of the other hog, because you can't get hooked. Because if you get hooked, you get die every time. Can't get, and you're the biggest hitbox out there, And then sometimes you're both on flanks and you find each other, and then you kind of got to win your pre-fire and hook shot, that little interaction, you know. So I think if there's a big hog difference, it's gonna win a lot of games, because if you can make the other hog scared and you can just be hitting hooks on squishies, I mean, it's a simple game at that point. But
Yeah.
I don't know, what else do we want to say? We might as well get it all in there.
Might as well. Thank you to everyone who's casted games. Check out the Better Academy 2 Twitch channel. You are not going to want to miss that because it's going to have a lot of the games of the week on it. There's like 6 games a week, every single week. So those all can't go on to the BA1 Twitch, but now we're going to have twice as many games on a second Twitch channel, so make sure to check that out. You can find it in announcements. Anything else, the patch is crazy. Roadhog's ridiculous. Seabass's stocks went up. Event Horizon is a good team. This just in. And then, Neely,
This
what's your
just
Twitter?
in.
What do you want to plug?
At Neely_OW. My Twitch is CamNeely66. I don't use it too much. I might, you might catch me on a solo cast here or there. doing horrendous camera angles because I did do one game the other week and I forgot that I did the camera, so I would just stare at a wall and call a fight off the kill feed or whatever. So I'll try not to do that. If you catch me again, I'll be very more aware, but I'll also just make Kane do it. So
There you go. That's a good strat.
yeah, or you.
Yeah, or me. I mean, I stream a lot of games. I mean, if anyone's following the Twitch channel, you already know that. But also, a lot of people followed it during this podcast, so thanks to all the new followers. I mean, we're going to be doing these once a week, probably every Monday. Today we're doing it on a Tuesday because there was a game that had to get played last night, and it was a no daylight game, and it had a lot of power ranking implications. Like, what if no daylight got 4-0'd? We wouldn't want to have the podcast out saying they're really good, and then that night they get 4-0'd. So, but most of the games should always be done by Sunday, so we can get this thing out and get standings out every Monday. And yeah, you can keep up with standings right on the BA Discord. You can keep up with our power rankings. I'm going to release them on my Twitter. It's the same as the Twitch. It's alt_charge. And then this is going to go up on the Better Academy YouTube. So if you just type in BetterCast onto YouTube, it should come right up.